What is your opinion on the ongoing protests that have been taking place right outside of this campus, right near the Braddock Hall area, Student Center area? What is your opinion? We've had the pastor out here last week on Tuesday, and then we had a guy who came out here on Thursday with an F the draft sign. What's your position on all this?
I think it's good. If you have a message, it should be heard. As long as you're not hurting people, then it's fine. Most people kind of went up to him, talked to him about it. Some ignored him. He wasn't really causing anyone danger.
Okay. All right. So you're cool with it. You just don't want to see anything get too out of line. Yeah. Am I reading that right?
Exactly.
So how do you feel now that we know that this college campus is actually considered public property, therefore civil liberties would be protected? First Amendment, right, freedom of speech, freedom to express your religion. That would, of course, also fall under the window of freedom of the press, what we're doing out here right now. How do you feel about that, knowing this new information?
Game on. You can do what you need to do. You can set your message heard. As long as you're not hurting people, it's good.
So here's my question. You are familiar with all of the protests that have been taking place out here. There was the pastor on Tuesday of last week, and then there was a gentleman out here on Thursday of last week with an F the draft sign. Yeah. How do you feel about this?
I feel that they should keep their personal opinions to themselves. Honestly, it's not a thing that they should be saying around campus. It's supposed to be like a space to learn for other students. It's not supposed to be a place where they can spread their biased opinions.
Well, I have some news, and I got it about 20 minutes ago from somebody who's involved with the Frederick City Police Department. I've been working the phones all week with this situation, and it was just confirmed to me just a minute ago that Frederick Community College is actually considered public property. Therefore, First Amendment, things that fall within the First Amendment are actually allowed here on this campus. What's your reaction to that? That's breaking news. I mean, for me, it's breaking news. So
I mean, it does make a little bit of sense that it is public property because it's not an enclosed campus. It's a pretty open campus, like anybody can really walk in. But I feel like that's something that should change in the future, maybe.
What do we think of these demonstrations that have been taking place outside of the Student Center here at FCC? What's the opinion of this?
Well, I'm aware it is a public space, but I wasn't entirely sure on, like, I didn't witness the first day of demonstrations, but on the second day, I didn't quite understand what his motives were, because he had a sign that said "F the draft," but he also had a shirt that said "Eat." And I'm not really entirely sure what he was going for. And I understand that this is a public space, and I do understand. I did hear the first day he got disruptive, but then again, I wasn't there to witness it. But yeah, that's the gist of what I've heard and everything.
Right. Good deal. What's your thoughts on the whole situation?
To piggyback off of what he said, I understand that it's a public space, but still, though, like, why here? Why at college campus? Why at the certain time of day when people are here getting lunch or talking with their friends and stuff like that? It's like, when would you want to go with like a girl or something like that, go and eat like a cheesesteak, and meanwhile you see somebody with a "Eat" shirt on there? How often do you see that every day?
Yeah, no,
you don't really see that. Yeah,
Any thoughts on that?
That's kind of just what they're saying. Like, I get it's public, but like, homie, that you could have picked a better spot, a better time.
Okay.
I get that the first guy was trying to be peaceful, and the second guy kind of got like rowdy or whatnot. But I just think that, you know, for one, our security could be a little bit more ramped up now that that's happened. And I know with the second guy, there's not really much to that, like, because there were Frederick City cops that came out, and there's not really much that they can do because he technically isn't doing anything wrong because it is a public space. It's more of a threat to us as students trying to go about our days and, get all of our classes done and get, like, we're here to learn, and we're here to not, I don't want to be political with someone. I don't want to get, told off about all this different stuff. I'm just here to do my thing.
You're uninterested.
No, I'm not. I don't care.
Okay.
Exactly, especially when there's like no purpose. There's no purpose for that even being here. Well, actually, I don't even know what the guy's motives were. And like to pick up back off of what Owen said, you don't know if like this was planned from the start. Since like the way the second guy came, you don't know if he was with the other guy or if this was like what I mean, like some sort of like big plan all along. You don't know if they're coming. Hey, you don't know. He might be like.
It's funny that it happened, but it's also funny that it happened twice in the same week, on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Let's remember that twice in a week. Like, we thought, honestly, the way it came twice in the week, we thought it was like Protest Spirit Week or something like that. Like,
So you are familiar with all of the ongoing protests that have been taking place here at the Frederick Community College campus. The one last Tuesday where you had the pastor out here, and then the subsequent one following that, which was Thursday, where a gentleman came out here holding an F the draft sign. So you're familiar with these incidents, right?
Yeah.
Have you witnessed them personally?
I walked by them on my way to class, but I
Okay.
didn't stay around to hear what was being said.
Okay, so you had some viewing of these incidents, both
Saw
of them.
the shirt.
Oh, the shirt.
Yeah.
Oh, the yes, the eat. It's organic.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, yeah, right. That's something.
Very interesting.
Very interesting. Yeah, I hadn't seen that one before.
Oh, you didn't?
No, I hadn't seen that shirt. No, that's original. You got me thinking about that now. Are these incidents that have taken place last week, are these subject to discussion around this campus? Are people talking about it?
I'd say a little bit. Like, I know me and my classmates talked about it like after class and talked about like what they saw and stuff, but at least in my day-to-day, it's not a huge conversation.
So what is your personal opinion of everything that you have seen out here? The situation on Tuesday and the situation on Thursday. What do you think about these gentlemen that came out here to express what they would refer to as their First Amendment freedom of speech and or freedom of religion? What's your take on this situation?
I think it's a little bit messy and complex, but if no one's being harmed or harassed, I think it's good to just ignore it. If you don't want to interact, and if you want to interact, you can choose to do so. I don't know. As long as no one's being harassed or hurt, that's really where I draw the line personally.
Here is the breaking news. Told you that there was some breaking news that I had that came from the upper echelon of the city. Technically, this is city, there's county, and there's city. So upper echelon of the city, about half an hour ago, has confirmed to me they've been working the lawyers and working the phones all week, and they finally have the answer to the question that I posed to them, and that was, is Frederick Community College considered public property? Therefore, constitutionally protected activities would apply as it relates to that property. That's the question that they've been working the phones over all week. The answer is yes.
Gotcha.
Fully and 100% public property, First Amendment, freedom of speech, religion, press, all that applicable on this property because it is considered public. What is your reaction to that news that these protests, these people who have come out here are actually out here 100% lawfully, and the removal of them would constitute a complete violation of civil rights? What's your reaction to that?
I'd say initially not surprised, but I think there should be an ability to remove disturbances in a college campus.
What do you think a disturbance is? How would you define that?
Loud, like things that you can't ignore. So loud yelling, or the guy with the microphone and speaker, very loud and disruptive. You could hear it through classrooms, getting in people's spaces, in people's way, or putting your hands on anybody.
Yeah. Well, the security actually came out and they put their hands on him.
Yeah.
What do you think of that? Were they wrong for that?
I don't know. Too complex for me to say.
So we are here with Micah. She was actually one of the people who confronted the pastor last Tuesday here at Frederick Community College. So I had a little bit of a conversation with Micah off camera, and I told her, I actually let her listen to the voicemail, which came from the upper echelon of Frederick City, confirming that the Frederick Community College campus is actually considered public property. Therefore, First Amendment constitutionally protected activity is permissible here on this campus, and somebody cannot be removed for doing so. So, Micah, you've heard that voicemail.
Yes.
What is your reaction to all of this? You actually were involved in this situation last Tuesday, so we've come full circle. What's your reaction to all this?
I think it's insane that somebody can come on here and make a scene. It's like a disturbance, but because they're not being a criminal, they're not offending they're not breaking any laws.
It's not a crime.
It's not a crime, and they can't be kicked off. I feel like they can't be kicked off unless they are like disturbing classes and staff and teachers and FCC from doing their normal jobs. But I think that if somebody's causing a disturbance like that, regardless of what they're preaching, I think that it needs to be controlled. Maybe they don't need to be kicked off, but just a controlled environment. And I think that what that whole situation was completely out of control.
In hindsight, do you think that interaction would have been different if you would have known at the time, like, that was a completely lawful activity and he actually, like, had the right to be there? Like, would that have changed anything?
I definitely think it would have changed stuff.
Okay.
I think it would have changed my point of view of like, how I acted towards the situation. I think everybody,
Because everyone thought, like, he had no business
he has
there.
no business being here. But then it's like, he's not breaking a law. He can be here lawfully. Like, campus security technically couldn't kick him off.
But they did,
But
yes.
they did.
Yes.
And I think it's
What's your position on that? What do you think of that? And because now we have all this information we didn't on Tuesday.
Yeah. I think that campus security was doing their job. They were making sure that the student body was safe, and we didn't know if this guy was gonna do anything bad. And they were just doing their job, taking precautions. But I also feel like their campus security, they should know what can and cannot go on campus. And I think they need to know that too.